Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. I hope you're all doing well. In today's video, I'm starting off updating my reading journal. This spread is actually for a novel. I know I don't make too many spreads about novels. I really should try to do that more. I just had a lot of thoughts about this one and I thought it was a topic that a lot of you probably can relate to. So this book is called Superfan and it's about a girl named Minnie. She is 18. She's a freshman at university. She has left home, of course, to go to college. She is isolated. She was already kind of isolated before that. She's had a difficult time making friends in her life. Where she lived at, she was one of the only, maybe even the only Asian children at her school. She's an immigrant. She moved from China when she was really young. And she just has had a hard time making friends. And so, of course, here she goes off, to a new place, a college. She's away from her family, the only support system that she has. And she still is having trouble making friends. And she's just so lonely and even further isolated. And while she's in that state of feeling lonely and isolated, she comes across a video of a boy band performing at some sort of festival. And she immediately falls in love. And then I was surprised that this is dual POVs. And the other POV is one of the members of the boy band. His name is Eason and his idol name is Halo. And he is the member of the group that she likes the most. And he has this air of mystery around him. He has kind of a secret that he's hiding. And slowly, as the story goes on, you figure out what it is, as well as kind of understand more of his background and the sort of home he came from. And the story just alternates back and forth between the two until, you get to a point where their stories interconnect. I was really interested to read this novel. I remember I saw it on NetGalley before, and I have been waiting for it to come out because I knew I'd want to listen to it, and I saw the audiobook on Libby, so I was like, oh my gosh, I said I'm going to stop listening to audiobooks, but I had to listen because I wanted to know what this book was about. The reason I thought all of you would probably understand is that I feel like most of you who watch my channel are a fangirl of something. For me personally, I actually have kind of an interesting story, not really interesting. It's not interesting at all actually, but I feel like different maybe to people nowadays. When I first started listening to K-pop, I did not know anything about the groups. I didn't get into K-pop, if that makes sense. I was just listening to the music. I would just let Spotify recommend whatever to me. It was also just a different day and age. I started listening to K-pop in 2017, which was not that long ago in my head, but actually it was kind of a while ago now. And I just think about how in 2017, NCT didn't even have their NCT Daily channel at that point. There was content to consume, but I'm not the kind of person who seeks out community really. So for me, I had never even thought to be in a fandom like that. I had never even thought to search into the groups further. I was just yeah, this music is good. But anyway, I was so interested to see what this book would even be about and how it would depict being a fangirl, because I do think there are other books that are similar to this, and they really focus on being deranged, essentially being an obsessive fangirl. And I think that it was trying to depict the main character, Minnie, as someone who has fallen deep into, being in this fandom. But I really honestly never got that vibe from her. She never gave obsessed to me at all. As a matter of fact, she seemed very much so she was someone who was trying to live her real life and it was just difficult for her. She never kind of gave me the vibes of that she was just a shut-in at any point, or that she didn't want to participate in her own life. So on the one hand, I do appreciate this book not painting Minnie as someone who's just lovesick and stupid and bamboozled or anything like that. But also it kind of made her less interesting because of that. I did not see her as obsessed at all. To me, she was just a regular fan. To me, this book was also tackling a lot, and maybe it was just trying to do too much so that everything then became just surface level. I mean, also though, this book is set in 2014. So at the time, maybe those conversations were not being had the way we're having them now or have had them now. But I literally made a list. I said racism, feminism, parasocial relationships, stan culture, shipping culture, coming of age, trauma, groupthink, finding community, mental illness. Also, I should have added self-identity. I feel that was a big one too. But everything was so surface level because so much was going on. It wasn't a bad book at all though. It was honestly very interesting. I just kind of wish the plot had been different. I feel it kind of added up to nothing in the end. I actually found the ending kind of huh? I think if it had been a young adult novel and had been for kids, I would have been absolutely, this is the lesson you should take from the book. But because it's for adults, I was just kind of is that it? It felt very bleak. A lot of the stuff that people say about groups, about how they're so manufactured and fake and everything is scripted, it was all kind of yeah, that's exactly how it is in this book, which didn't feel good. And a large part of this book is the fans of this boy group feeling two of the members are kind of having a Harry Styles, Louis Tomlinson sort of situation going on. All of the conspiracy surrounding that and how fans all have their own ideas about what's going on and how management has played into it. This novel also included the stalkers of the group who feel as though they, quote, have proof of things and that they need to, quote, protect the members of the group. I also thought it was kind of fun. There were these posts that were scattered throughout, and it was just, you know, the sort of post you would read online, a tweet, whatever. And I realized kind of at the end of the book, I was like, oh, I think these posts were supposed to be shocking. To me, they sounded like how people talk online though. And that is something that Minnie says towards the end of the book. It's like, it was just so normal to speak like that. And it's like, well, yeah, there was just so much going on. I feel like this was so many books wrapped up into one, because like Minnie's story could have just been a coming of age story. And then Easton's story could have been like a mystery / almost like psychological kind of thriller about, you know, being in a boy group. It was so like interesting. Like, it was honestly a bit addictive reading it. I wanted to know what was going to happen, especially at the end. It was making me so anxious, but I don't really know if I liked this as a fangirl sort of story. This is the kind of book I feel like that you could give to someone who had never been in any sort of music fandom before, to be like, look, this is what kind of goes on. And even then, like, you know, you're not getting into like the streaming projects, the numbers of it all, the charting, all of that. You're not even getting into that. Of course, that's been going on for forever too. So for me, parts of this were very fun. I thought a lot of what Minnie was going through, especially at the beginning of the book, very relatable. I thought the posts were so funny that were scattered throughout it. I was like, like I've absolutely read something like that in my lifetime. But honestly, I think as someone who went through a period of time where like I did not have any thoughts outside of NCT, like I was not even living my own life at all. I really didn't see that reflected in this story at all. Again, Minnie just seemed like a normal fan to me. I don't think there's anything wrong at all. And I think the author made this clear too, like there's nothing wrong with finding happiness in something outside of you in times of need. And even though something can be toxic, like standing a group, there are also good things that come along with it. There's community that comes along with it. I guess it just felt a little weak to me because I've lived through this. Like I literally know what it's like to lose not months, years of your time to just loving people who will literally never know you. And I think that too is something about being a fangirl, is like, you know that. I mean, I guess some people don't, but like, you know that their happiness is your happiness, but your happiness is not their happiness. They'll never know you. I was actually going back through some of my old journals after I finished this book, just trying to like read my old thoughts of when I first like kind of started spiraling. Because again, I used to listen to K-pop before I got like into the artists themselves. And also maybe the ending made me a little sad because I see now how far away I am from where I used to be. It's in a good way. It's in a healthy way, of course, but I think I missed that like initial high, that like being obsessed with your favorite group. And I think about how like I don't even know that much about the NCT members anymore. Like I can't even think of the last time I've like kept up with that sort of thing. I keep up, of course, with their releases, and I watch some content, some YouTube content here and there, but nothing at all to the extent that I used to. Anyway, this spread is long enough. There are actually only 2 spreads in this video, which is why I allowed myself to talk for so long. Also, before I finish wrapping this up, I loved this color palette. I don't usually do darker spreads because I don't really like the color black that much, but it was kind of fun. And also I was like, this is the perfect opportunity to use something Kuromi themed, because I don't really like black that much, so I never use any Kuromi themed things. But I literally feel like we could have like a book club about this book. Like if you've ever been a fangirl, I don't know, I would definitely suggest picking this up and just trying it and seeing what you think about it. The next and last spread of this video is my February reading wrap up. I'm actually recording this voiceover before the month of February is over, which is not good. So I don't know if I finished my February TBR or not, but you'll know, like it'll be on screen even if I don't talk about it. So anyway, the first thing I read in February was called The Rainbow Will Sparkles at Night. That is what it was called. And it was about this young man who's like solo traveling on his motorcycle, and he gets lost in the woods, and this other guy like comes out of nowhere and finds him and helps him. He gives him a place to stay, and he realizes that everyone in this small town that he's in do not like this guy for some reason. And that's really it. Like there's really not more to the story. I liked the art style of it actually, but they're just like it was just one of those stories that I will probably inevitably end up forgetting. There are just so many blmanga out there, and there just wasn't really anything special about that one in particular. The next thing I read is something I've been wanting to read for so long. I thought I was going to have to buy it myself actually. It's called BL First Crush Anthology, 5 Seconds Before We Fall in Love. It is what it says it is. It's an anthology. I used to love reading anthologies when I was younger, like teenager, early adulthood, like the YA. Oh my gosh, those were so good, the YA anthologies. But yes, this manga is literally just a collection of short stories. They're like a couple pages long. I'm going to put on the screen the like table of contents, and everything I have highlighted were the stories that I either liked the most, or they're like, I guess more so the ones that I thought if they were full-length mangas that I would read them. I also wrote ew next to one. I would recommend skipping that one. I kind of think that person should be put on a list actually. But some of the authors were new to me, some of them were not. So it was just fun to see like a range of stories as well. After that, I read Far From Romance, which I already talked about in another video. And then after that, I listened to an audiobook of a novel called Idle Grounds. It was a pretty short audiobook too. It was about this group of cousins in the 80s, and two of the cousins go missing. It was very surreal, and one of my favorite things about it, it was told using we, like it was told in the collective. I absolutely love that so much. I read a book like that a couple years ago too. I'm always on the lookout for books like that. It was very interesting. I kind of feel like I understood none of it though. Like I don't even really know what the story was trying to tell me, but it was really well written and it was just very interesting to listen to. I think the book said it was like reflections on privilege. I kind of got that from it as well, but in general, it just honestly felt like the way you do remember something as a child, just like very hazy, very dreamlike, surreal. After that, I read Give Me a Hug, Mr. Frog, which I talked about in another video. And then because I read Give Me a Hug, Mr. Frog, I read a manga called Kigurumi-kun, and it was very similar to Give Me a Hug, Mr. Frog. It's about these two guys. One of them has a job dressing up in a mascot costume, and the other guy is just a regular university student. But one day, the guy in the costume hands him a balloon, because that's what he does. He hands out balloons. And the balloon says, I like you. And so he agrees to hang out with him. And the guy literally keeps his outfit on. He keeps his mascot outfit on, but like underneath his regular clothes when they first go to hang out with each other. I didn't like it nearly as much as Give Me a Hug, Mr. Frog, though, because I think once you figured out who the person was in the mascot costume, it kind of lost some of its like fun. I think it would have been a lot more fun if they had maintained the mystery of like, who is this? And then after that, I finished the first book this year that I read with my actual two eyes on the page, which was Jujutsu Kaisen, Summer of Ashes, Autumn of Dust. It's the light novel for the JJK series. Oh my gosh, it was so good. I cannot believe I actually waited this long to read it. It was just a bunch of short stories together and they each followed different people. Like the first one was about Yuji and Megumi. One was about Mahito. One was about Nanami and Gojo. Oh my gosh. One was about Yuji and Ijichi, which I thought was so wholesome and heartwarming as well. There are spoilers for what happens in season 1 of the anime. I don't know why you would want to read the book if you hadn't already like consumed some of Jujutsu Kaisen, but yes, there are spoilers. Also, it's so fun that I own that book physically. It has a little poster in the front of it. It's so cute. I gotta get the second one now though, because I had so much fun reading that one. After that, I read a BL manga called About a Love Song Volume 1. Apparently it's volume 1 because volume 2 started, but it started like 2 years ago. So that's not looking good. Like it's on hiatus. It's actually an age gap romance where the older character is like 27, 28 or something like that. And the other character is literally in high school. I was like, oh my God, call the police, call the cops. I was gonna make a spread about the manga, but then I just like, I don't know, I never felt compelled to do it. But I will say the main character, the older one, he was actually responsible. Let me just read you my notes, actually, what I wrote after I finished it. I said, while it didn't seem fully realistic, who would keep hanging out with a kid in high school, and then the main character suddenly becomes famous? It was a story that actually pointed out the power imbalance and moral ickiness of a 10-year age gap involving a high school student. The theme of the story was that they both needed to chase their dreams and decide their own futures, and those futures just so happened to contain one another. Because like the main character did actually stop hanging out with the high school student, like the bare minimum. It's funny because at first he thought the high school student was a college student. Like that's why he even was hanging out with him to begin with. And when he was thinking he was like 21, 22, he was already like, I cannot be trying to hang out with a kid like this. And then it turns out he was actually a kid. He was an adult technically, but like he was in high school. After that, I read Superfan, which I literally just talked about earlier in this video. And then the only thing left on my TBR for February, but I haven't finished it yet, is Tamon's B-side. I'm supposed to be reading, I think like volume 6 through 8, maybe? I don't know. Just however many volumes that I feel is sufficient to catch up. I started reading volume 6 and I forgot how much it was annoying me. I also don't remember if I'm on volume 5 or volume 6. I feel like I wrote volume 5 on my TBR spread, but I think I might be at volume 6. I actually watched episode 1 of the anime yesterday when I was eating dinner and it was pretty fun. So maybe I'll watch that instead of catching up on reading it because I'm just like, they're getting on my nerves. But now that this spread is finished, we can go put the spreads that I made today into my digital journals. Also, in my last video, I was saying that I made a spread for Shutter Island, but that I wasn't finished with it. Well, I was finished with it, but I just hadn't like written anything about it. But I have done that now, so that's in this video as well. When we get to my movie journal, you'll see that. I'm proud of myself so far for keeping up with making spreads for my movie journal, even though I've seen Shutter Island before, so I didn't really feel like making a spread for it. Also, I made it so like, it's so cute. It does not match the tone of Shutter Island at all. I used the fruit sandwich inspector ID card that I made for it because Leonardo DiCaprio's character, oh wait, I said in my last video not to even look up what it's about, and here I am trying to tell you about it. I'm so serious though, like literally if you've never seen Shutter Island, like just click play on it. It's such a good movie. I thought it was interesting too because when you get to the ending of it, there's like a general consensus, I would say, of what people think happened at the end of it. And of course, when I was younger, I only knew my own thoughts about it, not anyone else's. It wasn't until I was an adult that I realized everybody thinks, well, not everyone, but a large portion of people think this one thing happened. But I, growing up, always kind of thought it was something else. So it was interesting to rewatch with adult eyes and to see if my like opinion changed at all. And it kind of didn't. I just can't. There's just something about the story, something about the plot that I'm just like, but this doesn't add up. Anyway, I love Shutter Island. It was really fun rewatching it. What a random thing to rewatch on Valentine's Day. I think as you're watching this, it's already March. So happy March. Thank you so much for watching today's video. Everything I used in today's spreads will be in my Pinterest board, and the link to that is in the description box, along with the links to all of my other social media accounts, as well as the links to all of the Google Drive folders for all of my journal deco kits. If you have any questions, please let me know and I'll do my best to answer them. I hope that your month has started off well. It's almost spring. The countdown to spring has truly begun. Also, it's almost my birthday, March 10th. Honestly, the next time I post a video, my birthday may have already passed. I may have already aged. So I'll see you in the next one. Bye, everyone.